on this recording in progress. Okay. Hello. My name is Kjoe, the mission of Kjoe. I've written a book last year. That was an idea for me. My name is Geert Vermeer, aka Kjoe. Mission of Kjoe is helping youth or helping adolescents grow by making them aware on the importance of quality. That's a little bit my mission statement. And how am I going to do that? So last year I had the idea to write a book. My first book, Kjoe is Best for You 1.0. And how can I inspire younger people? Was my first idea was to interview 10 quality managers from Flanders. And quality managers, then I mean people, let's say entrepreneurs from companies who are growing very fast, and the way they are growing, that is because they believe in the growth of their people. So I have them interviewed last year, and the end result is my first book, Kjoe is Best for You, and the motto of my book is a quote, maximum 8 words, 100 words explaining the quote, and then also an illustration explaining or let's say illustrating the quote. Now for my second book, Kjoe is Best for You 2.0, I'm going to interview young entrepreneurs, influencers. I already started my interviews. I already have done 9, but I wanted to finish with a special interview. And normally I'm doing a podcast, but I wanted to do something special. So that's the reason why I'm here now in front of Jew number 6, or Anthony Pangilinan.
You got that right. Almost right.
Almost. You've got a very difficult surname. And how do I know Anthony? I'm a 4th facilitator. I'm into innovation, and one of the 4th facilitators is also Akos Jala from Hungary. And in 2019, I think Anthony has been to the 30-year anniversary of Telex Consulting, and he gave there a speech which I saw on YouTube, and I must say I was blown away by your speech. And then after that, I started following you on the internet, and I'm also following you on your Daily Disturbances podcasts. And there are 3 things which trigger me essentially when you're doing your podcast or when you're doing your presentations. So the daily disturbance, what I call you're a kind of a one-liner poet. You're very strong in one-liners. And so diagnose before you prognose, etc. And you're also very strong in anagrams. But when I say anagrams, then I mean life-changing anagrams. So sense, if it makes sense to you, it makes sense to do. So that's that's the first thing which is triggering me very much. The second thing which is triggering me very much in you, Anthony, is you always mention your source when you do a quote. And your sources are very, let's say, it can be John Maxwell, it can be Nelson Mandela, it can be Frank Zappa. So, but you always mention your source. So you mention your mentors, you mention your family and friends, and you also mention church and spirituality. So sometimes I'm asking myself, do you know the Bible by heart if you do the quotes? Do you know it by heart or?
Well, what I know by heart.
Okay.
Oh, so I may not know the entire Bible by heart, but what I know about the Bible, those particular things, I think I've gone deep and I know by heart.
Yeah. Okay. And the third thing, which is really, which really triggered me, is what you do. First of all, you're a personal coach, you're a motivational speaker. But secondly, also let's say, you have a little bit the same mission as I have. That is, you have the rescue for Philippines. You also do youth programs. You're also part of IASEC. I don't know if I pronounce it well, or you have been part of it. So you also have a little bit of a link with Belgium because you have been in Belgium and Luxembourg. So that's the reason why I wanted to interview you. So as an introduction, as a short introduction, but that's the main reason why I'm interviewing you. So I called you 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and you said, okay, let's do it. So here I am. First question to you, who are you? Because I've been talking about you, but who are you? If you would describe yourself in 3 words, how would you describe yourself?
Well, from 2 perspectives. One, as I am known, I am the chief disturber. so I'm a disturber. I believe I'm a change agent. I believe that I cannot manipulate. I can only motivate somebody to consider changing and transforming. And so I try to disturb people as best as I can. One of my mentors said, disturbances to a good heart lead to positive change. So I disturb people well. From a personal, more internal view, a child of God. I believe that I am, by faith, a child of God, and that mindset, that view really shapes the way I see what I do in the world, at home, and in the workplace.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you do? Because if I look to the website, you do lots of things. How can you manage that? What does a regular day look like for Anthony?
You know, I am only beginning to see why I had gotten into a lot of things over time. For example, when I graduated from architecture, I had already figured out that architecture was my extra curricular activity. Because I had joined ISEC as a student organization in college, which became my main passion. So my course was my sideline, and my business organization involvement. You know, ISEC is about international cooperation, right, and business development. That became my main line. So when I came back to the Philippines from Belgium, where, you know, the international headquarters was, as international president, I still had a year or 2 to finish in university. So I was finishing that, because in the Philippines, a degree is so important. But I was already setting up my management consulting firm. I wanted to continue to change the world, right, by setting up my own firm. And here I am, a management consultant, trainer, speaker, who was invited to a TV program because they were intrigued. The first Filipino world president of this youth organization. How was it like, you know, living in Europe and traveling the world? Immediately after that interview, the host asked me on the side, "Can you be my co-host?" and for a number of years, I was both in management consulting training and in media and television as a host. Initially, I felt I was juggling too many things, but now I realize, I mean, media is just a platform. What I was doing in consulting was the content. And right now, especially right now,
for sure.
If not for my media background, I don't think I'd be where I am, and I'd be doing what I'm doing without my media background. I have shifted a lot of my content into the media platforms that I have learned to master over time. And so today I have one piece of content that I will share, I did, for example, this morning to an audience of 50 change leaders in a session, but I will record it tomorrow in my podcast, right? But then I will speak a bit about it on my Facebook live show on Thursday, and I will make it part of my script as I record a television show on Monday, and it was part of my tweet as I sent my regular
tweets,
motivational tweet on Twitter, and part of the book that I just published, 2 weeks ago, an ebook. So the same content on different media platforms. So it looks like it's a lot of things, but there is a glue, right, that binds them all.
There's a glue, yeah. And of course, if you're using these multimedia platforms or the different platforms, then you also have the best impact.
Because they all build each other. They build on each other. They're not separate media platforms. They all incorporate, integrate as one whole.
Yeah. And you're doing that. Is that also over there that you met your wife in media? Or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. She was in the movies. That's even another area. She was in the movies, and she watched the news one day, and I was there doing the news, and she was intrigued by this newscaster. So
yeah. And her father is Gary V, or
my wife is there saying, that is so what? That is fake news, she said. You fell in love with me. Okay, that's another discussion.
Fake news.
And my father-in-law was James Bond of the Philippines, right? Over 200 films to his credit. And so entertainment is another area of our lives as well as a family.
You mentioned him in the Hungary speech. You said one of the things he said was your second half should be your best half, and he replied to you, your third half should be your.
Again, my what?
Your second half of your life should be the best half of your life. That was one of the quotes you mentioned over there.
Yes. No, the third half, right? The best is to come. Amazing.
Well, that's one of the things I was thinking about this morning, that because you have a difficult surname, why don't just use the initial? But Anthony P is a little bit difficult, of course.
Well, I'm called ANP, right? So this is my drinking. There you go. It says ANP. Anthony, the second middle is even more difficult. Nepomuceno Pangilinan. So I'm just called ANP.
ANP.
That's what I'm known, right?
So people call you ANP or Anthony.
Yeah, ANP. Yeah, in the company ANP, but of course among friends it's Anthony.
Yeah, and your why in your life, is that sense? Is that your why? If you know Simon Sinek, of course, so he's always talking about if you know your why, that's what is your purpose in your life. Is it
well, as a child, it goes back to who you are, right? First you got to be before you can do. First you got to do before you can have. So be, do, have. I believe I'm a child of God, and so my why is to know him. Hence I spend time in the Bible, his word, and to have him known. If not directly, if not through my words, is hopefully through my actions. You know, and I remember this time, and even in ISEC, this is 30 plus years ago, I was already committed to Jesus then as a Christian. I renewed my Christianity then, and I remember speaking in a national conference in the US. And of course, in ISEC, you don't speak religious stuff, right? But after the speech, without any word from the Bible or from Christianity, somebody set me aside and said, "What's in you?" I said, "What do you mean?" There's something in you. It just can't be ISEC. something is flowing out of you.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I hope it's who is in me, and that's Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. He said, I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he said, I'm not a Christian, but I knew it couldn't just be
Mm-hmm.
an organization. It couldn't just be something from here. There was something more spiritual in your persona.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And then he just left. I said, wow, okay, so it resonates. I said, oh, so it resonates.
Well, listening to your podcast, one of the things I was, because I'm a Catholic, but I'm, let's say, not, I'm just Catholic from
By birth, you know, by
home.
Affiliation, by birth, yeah.
By birth, but I'm not going to church anymore. Because one of the things I see when I go to church, when I listen to a priest, the only thing a priest is doing is, let's say, stating what is in the Bible. And sometimes
it's a ceremony. It's a ceremony. It's like an obligation.
It's a ceremony.
When
when I hear your quotes and then translate it into real life, I think church, one of the things church needs is more motivational speakers than you, as you Yeah.
Well, I think that's what Jesus did, right? When he came, it was the religious leaders that he had issues with, right? Because they were so focused on ritual and ceremony that they had lost contact with the soul.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'm an extension of what he did then, but I do it now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, doing a great job. Yeah, you're inspiring me on Catholic-wise. So I'm also considering going more listening more and reading more the Bible. Yeah. Coming back to what is important in life, and what I see also in your life is a good balance between in body and mind. You're a very sporty guy, right? So you have been running 10 marathons, or you're preparing for the 11th. I don't know.
I'm done with 11. I'm preparing for my 12th.
For your 12th, okay. You also have done triathlons. You're doing shopping. You're doing diving. So is there something you're doing which I'm not aware of yet? And how do you combine it?
How do I combine it? You know, people ask me a lot. This morning I was in a webinar. Even yesterday, I had 1,600 audience. Mm-hmm. Online business people, and the question that always comes up, which I challenge in itself, the question is, Anthony, how do you divide your time between your work and your family? You know, especially now work from home, it's so intertwined. How do you divide mm-hmm. your time and energy between two? I said, I don't. I can't. I will not survive if I divide my life between family mm-hmm. and work, because that tends to be both an outpouring mm-hmm. of who you are, and there is no inflow. There's no outflow without an inflow. Yeah. And I attended this seminar, to think of it now, in Belgium. In 1988. I was just elected international president. I had to go to Brussels, and in IBM, IBM Excel, no, not Excel Commune, who?
Louvain-la-Neuve?
No, IBM headquarters there. You know, we attended a seminar.
Is it in Flanders or in
Brussels?
In Brussels.
In Brussels, yeah. So I forget the place, but anyway, that's where I was taught that I had to divide my life into 3, not 2. Mm-hmm. From a program called Life Balance. Yeah. Life Balance. Professional, mm-hmm. relational. So professional is, of course, what we do, our work, whatever commitments we have. Relational, family, friends, even communities, relational. Mm-hmm. Personal, which is the most neglected, and even to this day, most neglected area of everyone's life. It's like, if it's fitness, set it aside for now. If it's a hobby, it's too busy. You know, you don't deserve to do that now. If it's prayer, you can do that later, right? And so people are so spent, burnt out, right? Mm-hmm. They have nothing left because they did not pour in. Yeah. So that for me is a major shift. Mm-hmm. That giving time, energy, resources to self is not selfishness. It's the wisest thing, because then you pour in, and as a Christian Catholic, Psalm 23, you can say with David, my cup overflows, Psalm 23. Then I overflow to others. So for me, working out, whatever hobby, whatever time I spent, I spent this morning, you know, in the Word, in prayer, that is all a pouring in. And that's the only way I can continue to pour out to others.
Yeah.
Without that, I'd be, you know.
If you keep pouring in, of course, then you can flow over and give to others. Yeah. Okay.
So when they say, Anthony, so how could you do your work and family and you still run marathons? You know, I mean, I said, that is the reason why I have time for my family and my work, because I do marathons.
Yeah.
Because then my 1 hour used to be 3 hours, right? My productivity is 3 times better.
Yeah.
I'm sharper, I'm wiser, right? And my tenacity, my resilience, right, is a bit longer.
Yeah, and you also get your best ideas whilst running, probably.
Oh my God, I have been asked, it's business too, I've been asked so many times, you know, to deliver messages on the marathon of life or finishing strong. That was my talk this last month with Microsoft Philippines. It's finishing strong.
Yeah.
And they said, can you please connect, right, your examples to your personal experiences running the 6 World Marathon Majors? Yeah. You know, I was the 7th in the end, 7th in the Philippines to do that. Yeah. So I said I'd love to.
You also mentioned it in your podcast, the resemblance with the marathon, your life, the start full of energy, then the middle, and then the end.
Yeah, it is. And my daughter now is running her first marathon, and she said, Dad, you've done 11. I know your bucket list is 12. So could you run your last marathon as I do my first? How could you say no? But I've got less than 2 months to do it. So now I'm cramming.
And it's in the Philippines or the...
No, we plan. Well, depends on COVID protocols, right? We plan to do it in Greece.
In Greece.
Athens Marathon or something, or
in Greece is...
In Greece, because that's where the first marathon city, right, was run. So I'll do my first, and you do your last, Dad, where it all started. I said, oh, that would be interesting. So hopefully.
And when is this going? In December or what? October.
In October.
That's indeed. Sorry to disturb you.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay, Annie.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you do to train your mind? Because you mentioned sometimes somewhere in your podcast that you're a lifetime learner, and you're a Maxwell trainer. You have these different quotes. You have Zig Ziglar. Where do you have? Because I see lots of books next to you. When do you? What do you do? Do you read a lot, or do you listen to books, or?
You know, I study. So I took my MBA in Tsinghua, Beijing, and INSEAD in Fontainebleau, right, in France. So it's called Tiamba, Tsinghua INSEAD Executive MBA, maybe 10 years ago or so. And then I took another master's in INSEAD on change, another 2-year course. So I love studying. I'm thankful I have a wife who, in spite of limited resources, supports my desire to learn more. I surround myself with people. I'd say I'm a desperate man for counsel. So I surround myself with people. The Law of the Inner Circle by Dr. John Maxwell, right? Those closest to you will determine your level of success. So I've got a mentor for running. I've got a mentor, several in spiritual life, somebody on marriage. We have a mentor on finance. So mentors is a broad term. So it could be a monthly meet. There's one that I meet every 2 weeks online now. There are those I simply have embraced as someone I look up to in that particular area. So I digest I absorb all his material or her material.
Yeah.
Of course, there are the books.
Yeah.
But every experience for me is content to learn from. This morning, my daughter, who is also learning to spend time with the Word, but children's books, children's Bible, told me, she's 10 years old. She said, "Dad, I read that I am a miracle. Oh, that everyone is a miracle." I just listened to that. I said, "Oh, that's beautiful. That's a nice thing to say." And just yesterday, the past days, I've seen a lot of toxicity in social media around show business, where my son is involved, my wife is involved. So I decided, so I asked permission. I said, "What you just said, Solana, that's the name, which is light for light." I said, can I use that, what you just said, and can I share that as a tweet?" And so she said, "Sure, Daddy." And so, I sent this out just this morning, picked it up for my daughter, and this is my tweet. I said this: "Solana, Daddy, can I share the word I read today?" Said, "Me." "Sure, Solana, everyone is a miracle. I am a miracle. Needed that reminder. Whoever is reading this, you are a miracle. Whether you're from my tribe or not, I honor you and are miracle maker. Can you do the same?" That's what I said. And I sent that 5 hours ago. And now 9,462 people have liked it. 1,634 have retweeted it. And I have 100 plus who have commented on it. That was picked up from a 10-year-old. So I am always keen. I'm looking at what I can learn from every situation. It could be a book. It could be words from a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
I guess that.
Well, that's also
the
one of the things I strongly believe in. That is when I talk about inspiring adolescents to help them grow. What I believe is that every adolescent, every young man or a young woman deserves a coach or a mentor. But the difficulty you have, of course, some people don't need help, or they don't say they need help, or they. Some people, when they're young, they already know this is the direction I want to go, and they find their way. But then you have a big mass of young people who don't know where to go. So that's my long-term belief, and that's also a little bit my mission with. First of all, I want to aware people how we can help them grow, and then afterwards, I would like to help them grow. A kind of a social network like Facebook or LinkedIn, where elder people can help younger people to coach them, to mentor them, to grow, to help them grow. Because the older you get, I'm 56 years old, the more you think about what is the legacy. You also 56. Okay. So the older I get, the more I think about what is the legacy I want to leave behind. Okay, so I want to help people. And when you're young, you want to grow to your best version, but sometimes you don't know what your best version is or what direction to go at. So that's a little bit my mission. And also your mission. That's what you're doing. Yeah. Anthony, do you have a morning ritual, and do you have savers like Hal Elrod's? And do you wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, and do you have
2 to 3 hours in the morning? 3 things happen. 3 things happen in 2 to 3 hours in the morning. One is I spend time in the Word, have a conversation with my God as I conceive him to be, and I sense that there's a connection there. Another one is I work out. I work out with my wife, sometimes on my own. And then the third is I plan for the day. Yeah. Because I lead a team. So at 9 o'clock or even before, 9 o'clock on the average, we all share our OPMs for the day. OPM, our objectives our personal priorities, and the meetings we shall conduct. So that is a daily habit, and that's the core. It sets me up for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
You win the battle within, right? First, before you face the battles without.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
No breakfast because I do intermittent fasting, and so my first meal is lunch.
Yeah. And when you say you work out, what is working out? You go to the gym, or you go for a swim, or you go for a dive, or for a run?
There's a gym here. My son built a gym, so core exercises.
Yeah.
Got to keep the tummy in. I run outside here, and I should be running more because of the marathon coming up. So just a simple run here, but I think I'm going to engage. I'm going to have to level up in the next 4 or 6 weeks. So not much. I don't do triathlons anymore. I think I've graduated from that. You know, the question in everybody's mind, and not everybody, I would say 9 out of 10 men who join triathlons is, do I still have what it takes, right? That's it. So after 5 Ironman competitions, I did half Ironman, 70.3 miles each time. I decided enough of this because I realized it was also an extreme sport. And at my age, you know, and with the road conditions sometimes here in the Philippines and elsewhere, you know, one slip while you're downhill 60 miles per hour, and that's it. Goodbye. Goodbye, world.
Yeah, correct. That's also one of the reasons why I switched from. I used to run when I became 40. I ran a marathon in Rotterdam, one of the easiest ones. It was I'm doing every year my sporty challenge. But then 3 or 4 years ago, I had let's say problems with my Achilles and with my knees. I said, okay, I'm going to start. I'm going to stop doing long distance running, and I switched to swimming. So I learned to swim. Yeah.
Well, isn't swimming? Yeah, I think swimming and running are the two most natural sports of man. So that's a good one.
Okay. So let's go into the quotes. So you're into quotes. If you would give your top 10 quotes to inspire young people to grow and to grow to their best version, what would be your top 10 quotes? Or
okay, one would be my favorite quote, which is a verse. This was shared to me 30 years ago. Psalm 78 verse 72. I had major problems, you know, in my business at that time. I was starting out with people specifically, and my mentor then, still now actually, on spiritual matters said, Anthony, Psalm 78, 72. I said, what's that? David shepherded the people of Israel with an upright heart and a skillful hand. That's it.
Yeah.
Every time you've got an issue, shepherding your sheep, right? He said, it's either an upright heart, a heart issue, or a skillful hand issue, a hand issue. It's either motivation, inspiration, you know, commitment, or it's got to do with skills and competencies and abilities. So you got to manage both. So that for me has been a framework in working with, engaging, growing people. It's got to be a heart and a hand, right? Combination. So that's one. Another one is about disturbance. Disturbances to a good heart lead to positive change. Disturbances to a good heart lead to positive change, because when the heart is not right, a disturbance is an annoyance, it's an obstacle, right? It's a stumbling block. But when the heart is right, a disturbance is an opportunity to shift, right? It's an opportunity to step back and reflect. And it's an opportunity to re-strategize to a better direction. So disturbances to a good heart lead to positive change. And I can't change you, but I can only disturb you. So I know my limitations, but I'll do what I can with what I have as best as I can. Another one would be from Maxwell, which is you have to be intentional to reach your maximum potential, right? It won't just happen. So you must want it. You must purpose to be, as you said earlier, the best version of yourself, right? Connected to that is that change is inevitable, but growth is optional, right? Change is inevitable, but growth is optional. My favorite quote from Robin Sharma: starting strong is great, finishing strong is epic. Robin Sharma: starting strong is great, finishing strong is epic. Now, this particular quote, it's disputed who said it, but I got it from George Blake, my counselor, another counselor. He said, "The truth sets us free after it pisses us off." Right?
That's correct. Eh?
Right? That's true. But people don't like to be pissed off. They're too nice.
Yeah.
You know, there is even as a Catholic in the Bible, righteous anger. At times you gotta get pissed off with your own complacency and mediocrity. So that's one. The truth sets us free after it pisses us off.
Well, a good
Another
example,
one.
a good example of that is that I used to drink. I work hard, and in the evening I drink alcohol. And sometimes when I start drinking alcohol, I can't stop drinking alcohol. I don't say I have an alcohol problem, but one of my stepsons, he was telling me on an evening, he was saying, "It's you're drinking a lot." So I was really pissed off by his remark, but afterwards it made me think, and I said, "Okay, why am I drinking?" And then in the end, I said, let's stop drinking alcohol. And so I stopped drinking alcohol because a remark from somebody who pissed me off. That is 100% correct.
Another one would be connected to that by Jim Collins, whom I've had a chance to not just read, watch, interview, even attend a couples retreat, you know, together. So Jim Collins, accept the brutal facts. Accept the brutal. The beautiful is easy. It's the brutal we avoid. It's the brutal we deny.
The good
or
the ugly. Eh?
Yes. Got that. The first responsibility of leadership is to define reality. A legendary leadership trainer, Max Dupree. The first responsibility of leadership is to define reality.
Yeah.
I like this quote by Popeye. You know Popeye?
I know Popeye. Popeye the Sailor.
Yes.
Spinach.
Have you watched any of his episodes?
When I was young.
Okay.
Don't see that much anymore. It was also filmed once with the famous actor Robin Williams. He was playing.
There's only one thing he says in every episode, and once he says that, you know it's going to be a happy ending. Do you recall?
It was.
That's all I can stand. I can stand no more. Popeye will always say that in every episode. At first, he'd see Olive abused, right, by Brutus. Eventually, he's the one already being violated and abused, right? And he goes along with it up to a certain point, and then he makes a decision. That's all I can stand. I can stand no more. And the rest is execution, right? Decision management follows decision making, and for me, this is so important because a lot of people have settled, have compromised their standards, have languished, you know, which is so popular now. It's a mental health condition. They call it the middle child.
Disturbance, languishing. Huh?
Yes. You know, it's the middle child between depression and flourishing, right? It's like you're neither here nor there. And a lot of people have settled. And I think it's so important that we redecide enough of mediocrity, enough of settling, enough of abuse, That's all I can stand. I can stand no more. Is that 10? Maybe one or two more.
I also have been writing down some. One of the things which you said in Hungary was it was a very interesting one, because normally people say avoid negative people around you, and you say it the other way around. Right? Because negative people or annoying people, what you said exactly in Hungary was annoying people around you sharpen you as no others.
Yeah,
and that is correct. But most of the time, people are avoiding annoying people or avoiding negative people. So that's
yes. I like this. I like this quote. I'm not sure if it's Maxwell. It could be Maxwell. It's not what happens to you, it's what happens in you, right? So I actually tweeted this as well, because there's been so much talk about avoiding toxic people, right? Avoid toxicity, and I said enough. I mean, who is to say that today you're okay and tomorrow you'll be toxic too?
Yeah.
Right. And toxicity isn't always a choice. Sometimes you're going through something, right? It's an issue that you can't overcome. The issue, the struggle is beyond you.
Yeah, it can be a loss.
Yes. And so trying to create this toxic free world is just not possible. D Hawk. Okay, so no, I just wanted to share that about that tweet because I was surprised. It has I only have 120,000 followers on Twitter. I mean, my son has 2.5 million. Okay, he's a rock star. But that had 23,000 likes.
Yeah.
And the people, most of them young kids, replied saying, "Ouch, you're right. Ooh, that's me." I've been avoiding.
It's typical Facebook.
I've been avoiding toxic. Yeah. Be mindful. Be mindful, not just what you are entitled to.
Yeah.
Be more mindful, not just what you are entitled to, but what you're responsible for. Right? If we are just more conscious of what we are responsible for and not what we are entitled to, then I think this place would be a better place for all.
And it's also what you mentioned a lot in your podcast and also in your presentations, is that a 360 degrees view on yourself is also a different standpoints of view, and can have already different types of views on reality, because my reality is not your reality and the other way around. So that's
This is one of my favorite books, by Gazinski, I think it's his name. Adam Galinsky and Maurice Schweitzer. Friend and foe. See, it's not friend or foe, it's friend and foe. When to compete, when to cooperate, and how to succeed at both. I think every leader should read this.
Yeah. Okay, but I've been writing down some others which inspired me. Transforming is more important than succeeding. Transformation is more important than succeeding. That's one of the things you meant over there.
Of course, it's not just what you accomplish; it's who you become, right? I mean, my kids don't care what I accomplish. In the end, it's how I have become as a father. My wife, certainly, how I have become as a spouse is more important than any success that I've had in the business field.
Correct. Okay. Do you have any all-time favorite songs? Because you mentioned in your podcast, you mentioned Frank Zappa, for instance, was mentioned in one of your podcasts. Do you have an all-time favorite song which inspires you, or what you like?
I love Charlie Chaplin's song, "Smile." Right? I love that. I love the fact that Charlie Chaplin sang and wrote that song. Smile though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. The song?
Yeah.
When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. I love that song.
Yeah, Yeah,
So
you also sung it
very simple.
in the podcast.
This same song.
The same song, yeah.
So smile will be one. Yeah. And
I didn't know it was from Charlie Chaplin.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. He wrote that song. So for me, it's quite special.
Uh-huh.
I love worship songs, of course. I mean, they bring you to a whole new level. You know, my son Donnie, for example, last night, he went on this social media app called Kumu, very popular in the Philippines and now it's spreading around the world. You go live stream and you have audiences, you know, coming in and chatting with you, right? And he broke the record of that 3-year-old app. He broke the record of the number of people engaging with anyone at a particular time. The record as of yesterday was 17,000 people all on board at the same time. My son broke it and reached 23,000 people. And what happened was when he came in, first the app crashed. and it took the tech people 15 minutes to put it back on. Then he reached 23,000. And he did his playlist of songs. You know, local songs, international songs, you know, songs that kids love. But he ended with a worship song called Surrounded. I'm surrounded, you know, I'm surrounded by all these challenges, but that's okay because I'm surrounded by you. Wow, when he played that last song, I was in near tears because here's a guy who is second to none when it comes to his influence over people, but then he decides to end his live stream acknowledging who surrounds him, you know, when all is said and done. So, and I know that he loves worship songs because it lifts him up higher than any challenge he's had as an influencer.
Yeah. Well, it's also one of the quotes which you had in Hungary. It's not the individual effort helps you survive and collective action makes you thrive. And so, yeah, once you acknowledge that you are surrounded by people who can lift you up, that really helps you.
It takes a village to raise a child, right? This is saying. But you know what? I'm in anti-human trafficking. It takes a village to rescue a child. Even as we speak, we have operations to rescue young girls from abuse in different parts of the country. And to rescue one girl, you got to talk to the local police. You got to talk to the social welfare group. You have to talk to psychologists for post-rescue care. You got to talk to your company clients so that they can give some resources. You got to talk to the parents. Unfortunately, sometimes it's the parents who sell their own kids, you know.
Federal police.
Wow. Or the police.
Yeah.
And wow. To rescue one, you need a community, right?
Yeah.
And
once rescued, then the work starts. Yeah.
Yes. The recovery is even harder.
So that's but you're doing it. Yeah.
One child at a time. One child
at a time. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So looking back to your your life, Anthony, and now you're 56 years old.
Thank you.
What tip would you give your younger self? Suppose you are now age of Donnie or of Solana. What tip would you give yourself, or what tips are you giving to your children nowadays?
I don't know. Chill. You know, someone's got your back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, it's always like, I should have done this, I should have done that, but I didn't know then what I know now. So how could I have made that decision then? Because it's only now, right, that I understand.
That's a difficult one. Yeah.
Right. So I think using your best judgment has helped me through the decades, right? At this point in your life, are you using your best judgment? And if you do, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
There's a quote though There's another quote by John Eldridge, and I'm sure I've shared this in my podcast too. Well, Howard Thurman is the guy who wrote this in the book of John Eldridge, Wild at Heart. And he said this, he said, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Instead, ask yourself what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs is a person who has come alive. Right? I love that. Don't ask yourself what your customers need, what your parents want, what your friends closest are pushing you to do. Don't ask yourself what your spouse needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and you do that. Because when you do it, oh my God, then you realize it's what everybody around you needs.
Yeah, but because
your spouse needs you to come. Yeah, because when you come alive, your spouse is thankful. Oh my God, thank God he's alive again. Thank God Dad is passionate again. Thank God this provider, the customer says, oh, thank God, my God, that you've got heart again, right? So what makes you come alive? So in a sense, use your best judgment, what you think is best, and
come alive,
and go for it. Live life.
Yeah, correct.
Come alive, come alive, come alive.
Okay, life. And then about tops, what is the compliment you receive most from people around you? And what is your because when I ask people, hey, what is your unique selling points, or what is your best? What is the compliment you receive most of the time of people? What are you most proud of?
I don't know. He made me think again. Anthony, you made me think again. I mean, that hit me to my core. You know, these things.
That's also the reason why I'm asking it, because
yeah.
In my first book, I've been interviewing a company, a CEO from a company, Peter Schongers. And he's got a company who has been, let's say, nominated, and also they won it, best workplace in Belgium for many successive years. And he says, yeah, what is the success of my company? And the success of his company is pride. Okay, so people working for his company are proud to work for his company, ProTime. So proud, being proud of something is, let's say, after love, the most, let's say, positive human emotion you can have. So that's the reason why I was asking you, what are you proud of? No.
Well, I think that what that guy said 35 years ago, you know, when he said, there's something in you. So I think that for me has been most encouraging. When people say, I want what he wants, I want what he has. Because if somebody says, I want what he has, and they realize it's not me, then I give glory to the God who is within me.
Nicely put.
I'm just a channel, right? I'm just a channel. So that makes me a successful channel. John says that in the book of John. He must increase, I must decrease. Right?
One of the things I also like, and also something I like to do, is playing with words. So that's if I listen to your and your anagrams always. That's and because I've been writing them down. Top complainers or least producers. Sweat more in training, bleed less in war.
The Spartan said that.
Be before you do before you have. So it's just small. It's a little bit like my quotes, and that's the reason why I also like quotes. They have to be short, and they have to really be inspiring. They really have to be, disturbing.
Yeah, there's another one. After a 2-day conference in Malaysia, I asked my wife if I could stay an extra day, because I just had to write down everything. And so I stayed an extra day, and I wrote down one sentence. One sentence in 2 parts. Getting into trouble is not my choice. Going through trouble well is my choice. right? So I've stopped telling my kids don't get into trouble, right? Because growing up, it's like don't get into trouble, don't get into trouble. Oh, come on, I may not get into trouble, but trouble gets to me, right? So enough of not getting into trouble. The important thing is that when you find yourself in trouble, is that you go through trouble well, which is to hold on to your vision, not to give up on your mission, to fight for those core values, right? To hold hands with your teammates or your spouse and your kids in prayer. If only that is what you do, then you're going through trouble well.
Yeah. That's also what you mentioned in Hungary. So you said reacting to the unplanned is more important than acting to what I have planned.
Isn't that true?
Yeah,
Isn't
that is
true?
Completely true, because I'm a little bit autistic. So if something happens not unplanned, then I already start panicking. So if I'm preparing an interview and something unexpected happens, then I always start panicking. But like you said, if it's right in your core, then yeah, if it's clear for you.
I wonder if I followed that up, that when I said that 90%, the quality of my time this evening here at home is determined by how I react to what is not planned, right? Yeah. 90% of the quality of my time is how I react to the unplanned. Not the way I act to fulfill a plan, but how I react to what was not part of the plan. It's crazy, but it's true.
It's true, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So suppose, Anthony, that's not something we hope, of course, today is your last day of your life.
Oh, God.
What would you do? How do you spend your day, and whom will you spend it with? I think I know the answer.
Yeah. I should make a few calls to my mom, but I'll stay home. Yeah. I think I've had that mindset for quite some time. That every day is a gift. So,
yeah.
And every day you can go. I'd make a call to my mom. Maybe send out a tweet. So let them do the retweeting and the reposting, but I stay home, right? And I engage with those closest to me.
Sure.
A few apologies for sure. I was talking to one of the top business people in this country who owns a global franchise food business, and he was telling me that he was about to go for a sudden brain surgery, and he wasn't sure if he was going to make it, and so he confessed everything to his wife. Everything.
You told, and then he recovered.
And then he recovered. So unfortunately, he recovered, but it was good because then he had to repent, and it's never been better, right? His marriage in the process. So I don't think I've ever said this, though. If there's one thing that I wish to be written in my epitaph, and this surprises a lot, it would be that he loved Maricel to the end. Maricel's my wife.
I know.
That's
it. 5 children. You're 7. Yeah. I've done my preparation. and you also mentioned always in your podcast your family members. So talk a lot about your wife Maricel, about son Donnie, the actor, and then the youngest girl Solana. So I know your family. That's one of the things you see now on Google. So if you look for family tree of Pangilinan, then you, your uncle is Gary V. I think that was the James Bond actor. So that's one of the things of being famous. So you're found on Google. Now, what song would you like to? Would you like that people play on your funeral? What would be the song that you would like to play that people relate you with? Is it a Charlie Chaplin song, or is it?
Yeah, I thought about that when you wrote that. you know, I don't know. I think I would love for them to play the songs that they relate with me the most. So, right? It's because then if it's my song, I'm not sure it'll connect, right? it might not work. But if Maricel chooses one, and Ella, my eldest, one, and Donnie another, oh, that would be special. So maybe I should ask them though, right? I mean, what song would you want played that you think best reflects who I am?
Yeah, because my wife is already preparing a playlist there, so for herself. Songs she likes to hear. I also have my favorite songs, but I have a little bit the same view like you have. It should be their remembrance, because
right.
Like how you want to.
Yeah, I can't listen to it anyway. So
maybe you can. You never know. Okay. So we reached the end of the interview, Anthony. So
oh, thank you.
I thank you very much to be able to interview you. You're a little bit my social media mentor. So every day when I'm going for a swim, let's say 3 or 4 times a week, and when I'm driving into the swimming pool, it's a 25-minute drive. The first thing I always do, Monday to Friday, and you have your podcast. That's always that's what I do. Yeah.
Please feel free to tell me what you suggest, or maybe some topics that you think might be of relevance, right? That I haven't covered yet.
For sure. No, and just send a WhatsApp message, or just do a reply in the podcast on Spotify.
WhatsApp me. I'm always here. Right.
I know. Okay. So thank you for your
You're
time.
welcome.
Yeah. What time is it now in the Philippines? It's Friday evening.
It's 5:25 p.m.
So you're going
5 minutes before my next meeting. So thank you so much.
It's as if we organized it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hey, let's take a picture. Let's take a picture. I'll send it to you. 1, 2, 3. Go. Thank you, Kjoe.
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony.
Ciao. Ciao. Bye-bye.